Let's talk about season 2, episode 1 of And Just Like That, which includes the return of the iconic Vivienne Westwood wedding dress that Carrie wore. This may take me a few parts, and I do plan on going through each episode, so follow me for more. Carrie is hooking up with her podcast producer, Franklin, and they're talking about making poached eggs in bed. Throughout the whole episode, Carrie is conflicted on whether she wants to be more than friends. Speaking of friends, she hasn't even told hers that she's hooking up with Franklin, so when Charlotte comes over unannounced, it's a big surprise. Carrie tells Charlotte not to make this a thing and that they're just hooking up, so Charlotte says, "How big is his D? If I can't be myself, I'll be Samantha." Oh, how I miss Samantha. Miranda is in LA with, trigger warning, Shay. Nia FaceTimes Miranda. She's bored without her husband because he's on tour. And Miranda is just pretending to be someone she's not. Just like everybody else in LA, she's doing a sleep deprivation tank. I miss the old Miranda. Shay and their writer are arguing about their fashion. Back in New York, the girls are invited to the Met Gala, and to Charlotte's surprise, her husband Harry wants to come. So since her husband wants to come, she has to uninvite her bestie Anthony as her +1. But Carrie has a +1 because Seema dropped out, so she invites Anthony. And Seema dropped out because her boyfriend's son is in town for one day and her boyfriend really wants her to meet him. More on this later. Lisa is so busy being supermom and working, and her husband misses her and their morning cuddle time. While they're doing their dress fittings for the Met Gala, Lisa and Charlotte are bonding over how supportive but annoying their husbands can be. Rich people problems. Carrie's recording an episode of her podcast where one of her listeners asks her, "How do you know if the person you're hooking up with wants to be in a relationship?" Carrie tells the listener that they'll know when they start making different plans and not just hooking up. And right after that, Franklin invites Carrie to one of his friend's bourbon openings on a rooftop. It catches her off guard, so she calls Shay and Miranda for advice. Shay tells Carrie that some relationships are just about sex and that's okay. Miranda gets a little self-conscious when Shay tells Carrie this, because when Carrie called, Miranda was trying to figure out how to put on some device so that she and Shay could get it on. Miranda also tells Carrie that if you sleep with someone that you work with, you lose your power. So predictable. Like I mentioned earlier, Seema's boyfriend wants her to meet his son, as well as his ex-wife, who tells her that she still lives with Seema's boyfriend, Zed. Seema freaks out. She's like, "I'm not missing the Met Gala for this guy who still lives with his ex-wife." Zed tells her they live on separate floors and they have different entrances, but she's not having it. She's going to the Met. Miranda encouraged Nia to go out to a bar, go to a restaurant by herself, and she does. And this guy named Toussaint hits on her, but she says, "I have a husband." What a good wife. Later on, she tries to FaceTime her husband and have some sexy time. He's in his hotel room and he's like, "No, don't do that. I have someone here." She's like, "Who?" "Some girl named Heidi who he's writing songs with." Ew. Nia is a little tipsy, so she gets pissed. Honestly, she'd probably get pissed even if she was sober. Anyone would. Go to part 2 for the rest of the episode.